went to prison, I met the famous Chopper Read.
Oh, Glenn was talking about him.
I met Chopper Read. He just had his ears lobbed off, and I used to go across to G Division, it was called, right? Because I was in D and G was next door. And G Division in those days in Pentridge was for the, psych cases.
Yeah, it's a real psych case.
And they had him there because he'd had his ears cut off, and they thought he's a bit mad, put him in there. Because he was in H Division and he wanted to get out, and he did, but he went to G Division. And I used to go over there once a week for typing lessons. And there was a pretty little typing teacher, which is the main reason I used to go and do a bit of flirting. And anyway, one day I'm sitting there talking to her, and this guy appears, you big guy too, and he had a grey coat on, buttoned right to the top. And he comes up and he says, "Hey, mate, who are you?" And I look up, and I didn't know who he was, right? And I said, "Oh, my name's Arthur." And he looks at me and he goes, "You're a pretty boy, aren't you?" and then he said, "What do you think? Am I pretty too?" And he had sort of his hair covering his ears, and he pulled his hair back, and I saw his ears, and then I realised, because I'd heard someone had lopped him, and I realised who it was. Yes, I didn't know what to say. He was so... He picked her up because he knew her well, and he just put her right up in the air. He was a big boy. He's got her up there, and she's saying, "Put me down, Chopper, put me down." I would have loved to have got to meet Chopper because he was a smart bloke.
Yeah, he knew it.
But he was one of these kids who started early. I reckon Chopper could have done anything. He could have, like a lot of them. I met so many blokes in there, and I used to think, you're wasting your life, man. Yeah. You could be doing so much. And it's one of the reasons I decided that I had to try and make my little contribution and try and salvage some lives from that experience, because I knew, I met so many of them who started as little kids who were disadvantaged in some way or another.